Long story short, got a SAPPHIRE Pulse ITX, was too loud, mounted Arctic Mono, didn't fit, made it fit, done. Watch the video for the long version, and thanks for 1000 subs, you're awesome, all of you. Here's our C2 build, 2400G, 16 gigs of RAM. The integrated Vega 11 was nice to start with, but didn't suffice on the long run. Then a cheaply RX270 Pulse ITX ran into me. It went straight into the case and performed nicely, but was a bit too loud for our ears. But I have to emphasize, it's quiet for such a small card, and even more so if you optimize the fan curve. Nevertheless, we got us a nice Arctic Mono. The cooler comes with a ton of memory and VRM heatsinks, a slot bracket, some optional mounting stuff we don't need, a fan adapter, and a nice tube of thermal glue. Let's go and first remove all the screws from the original cooler. Once this is done, we lift it off, and that's all we need to do to remove it. Don't forget to unplug the fan. If the cooling block itself is stuck, then just rotate a few degrees left and right while removing it. Now we carefully remove the old thermal grease. A cotton stick is perfect for the task. Afterwards, we place the according heatsinks on the VRMs and the memory modules. The topmost VRMs need to share one of the smaller heatsinks because they are too close to each other. But that's not a problem since we don't plan on heavy overclocking anyways. Before attaching them, we remove any remnants from the old thermal pads. If you skip this step, the thermal glue won't bond properly, so don't be lazy. After that's done, we apply a thin layer of the included thermal glue on one of the heatsinks. You don't need a lot of it. Then place the heatsink and apply some pressure for 10 seconds, and that's it. Repeat until you're done. Since we're a bit dim, it took us this long to realize the cooler won't fit. Since the Pulse ITX is a small card, they moved the memory modules closer to the GPU to fit everything on the little board. So we had to remove two of the heatsinks and tried to at least cool half of the chip's surface. We then ended up removing them completely for the final build, since some heat pipes got in the way. But that's not a problem too, some 2070s are shipped without any memory cooling at all. We also undervolted the RAM to 0.8 volts, which makes it run even cooler anyway. The Mono's mounting bracket lets you modify the cooler's position, either closer to or further away from the PCI Express slot. Now we just need to tighten these 4 screws and we're done. Fitting the card into the C2 is a fiddly matter. As you can see, it's a very tight fit. But the reward is well worth the effort. The Mono draws cool air through the bottom vents, and at stock settings it already is barely audible. On top of that, undervolting the GPU to 0.9 volts allows us to run the fan at constant 1100 RPM while temperatures stay below 70 degrees under continuous load. It's dead silent once the case is closed. The Arctic Mono also is quite affordable, so go for it if you want to silence your GPU without a lot of effort. Our 270 runs at 80 watts after undervolting it, so you'd still have 120 watts of room until you hit the cooler's limit. Sadly, the CPU now slowly gets hotter and hotter since the case doesn't have any ventilation besides the power supply, which after an hour or two leads to a noisy CPU fan. That sounds like a mission for another video. So, that's it for today. If you enjoyed the video, then drop us a like and consider to subscribe. Thanks for watching and see you next time.